Some NFL teams are strong on hope and hype, and every year they're surprised by the results. There's a reason for that, and a lot of us are doing the exact same thing. Every April, NFL teams gather for the draft. Millions of fans watch. Analysts break down the picks. Why? Because hope springs eternal. Hope is powerful. But hope without a plan is just a good feeling with a short shelf life. The draft reminds us there is hope. Love may make the world go round, but hope gets us out of bed. And it's hope that has us watching ESPN in April for a season that doesn't start for almost 5 more months. Because the draft isn't about just this season, it's about building something that won't pay off for months, sometimes years. It's about the hope of your team hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, creating a legacy and building a dynasty. Let's create a legacy of our own. Stick around and I'll provide some direction and resources to help you not just have a winning season, but a more fulfilling life. Better harvest, better lives.
Hi, Dr. Dave here, the Garden Shrink. I'm an old psychologist with fresh insights into how growth actually works in the garden and in life. Join me on a journey to increase the harvest out there and in our personal and professional lives. Whether you're just thinking about gardening, an old hand, or simply someone interested in psychological advice minus the copay, I've got something for you. So come on, let's grow something real together.
Okay, well now in previous videos we've talked about habit change and focused a bit more on the trees than the forest. Today we're going to talk draft board and zoom out so we can focus on the big picture, the vision. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Of course everybody wants to win and be successful, but successful NFL teams don't cast vague, unattainable goals. Their goals are grounded in systems, research, and science. Successful teams don't leave things to chance, they build systems. How? Well, they start with a long-term vision and only later the playbook. It starts on a macro level with the owner, the GM, and the head coach, aligning and designing a strategy for long-term success. What kind of team are we trying to be? Are we built around defense, a power run game, a fast, aggressive passing offense? They're not just hoping things work out. That's false hope. That's not a strategy. That's a ticket to a lower paying job at a new city. Or in my case, truth be told, to a spotty garden harvest the first time I planted, because I was heavy on optimism and enthusiasm, but light on knowledge and planning. But you live and you learn and you move forward, and your mistakes become compost for better harvest and maybe even championships. So back to the football life. As the GM, you've clarified your team's values, you've established a clear path, a direction, a mission, if you will, and now alignment and assessment. Can our talent and resources accomplish our mission? Who's on the roster? Who fits that vision and who stays? Who doesn't and gets let go? Can our talent grow into the system? Do the parts complement each other? And just as important, what is missing? And how do we fill those gaps? Through the draft, trades, free agency, player development, practice squad, different leaders even, or different coaches. Did you notice it? Winning programs do. It's subtle. Just questions. No action yet. We're building a system, a way, planning, assessing, researching, consulting, aligning. And yes, it is rocket science. And it's also how all successful things are built. We build a house, one brick at a time. A retirement account, one consistent deposit at a time. Muscle, one workout at a time. This is how life works. Planful, informed, intentional. And yet, when it comes to our personal lives, we sometimes forget. Now, I get it. I do. New Year's resolution type motivation is great for a while. But it's like racing off with the top down, wind in your hair, and sun on your back, and getting lost, running out of gas, and sunburned. No thank you. I'd rather not. Instead, to increase our success and life satisfaction, we need a North Star. Clarity regarding our values and a reckoning of where we've been and where we're going. Not just what you want to do, but who you're trying to become. All right, let's do this the right way. With the number 1 pick in the 2026 draft, the Northeast Gardeners select Farmer Dave, Master Gardener from the University of Hard Knocks.
Thanks, Commissioner. About time you folks got serious. Now looky here, rookie. Salsa and poppers for the big game, decorations for Halloween, pumpkins, gourds, corn stalks, and sides for Thanksgiving. Squash, sweet potato casserole, and glazed carrots. Those aren't August decisions. They're planned in February and planted in May. If you start thinking about it in August, you'll be eating salsa from a jar, overpaying for decorations, and buying your pumpkin pie at the grocery store. Gardening requires forethought. Afterthoughts don't grow much, except regret.
Thanks, Farmer Dave, and welcome back, sports fans. We now have a system, a direction, and a team. And now we need buy-in and commitment from top to bottom. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Often when we struggle with our own execution, it's because of partial buy-in. We call this ambivalence. Part of you wants to change, and part of you wants things to stay exactly the same. Well, we need to resolve it and go all in, or wait until the season is right. And finally, after all the prep work is done, it's time to implement the plan. Time for action and follow-through. Teams have a game plan for each opponent. It changes weekly. Different schemes, different plays. But what doesn't change is the routine. Same practice, same schedule, same film study, diet and workouts, all in preparation for Sunday. But even with a carefully crafted plan, adjustments have to be made on the fly, possession to possession, at halftime, and especially during a potential winning drive. And for the unexpected, like weather, injuries, and turnovers. And after all this, success isn't guaranteed, because teams don't control everything, and neither do we. But we plan and prepare for what we can control, including obstacles, by making contingencies. I have a brother who was a big athlete. In his room, growing up was a sign. Luck is what happens when opportunity meets preparation. I think that can work for us. And one more thing that NFL teams understand, and we tend to forget. Every year, after it's all over, and it's never really over, by the way, they reassess who still fits, what needs development, what needs to change. Gardeners do the same thing. You know, what thrived, what struggled, what do we need to adjust next season in our garden? Because even a good plan has to be tended and amended.
Now remember, you can't just plant whatever you want and expect a harvest. That ain't gardening, that's gambling. Speaking of which, here's a hard truth. You ready? Most of us spend more time planning our fantasy lineups than our real lives. Winners don't wing the week, they run a game plan, or they get run over. If you're chasing trends, you might have some short-term success, but long-term, you'll end up chasing your tail.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in real life? Here are some takeaways. One simple place to start: spend 15 minutes each week stepping back, setting your game plan for the week. Maybe Sunday night after the game before your week actually begins. And once per month, spend 20 minutes reviewing your season, your progress, and what needs realignment. Because planning your life isn't about doing more, it's about doing the right things at the right time on purpose. Second, don't just decide what you'll do, decide when you'll do it. As Coach says, don't wing it. Third, you can't keep everything in your life. Every team has to decide who stays and who doesn't. They sometimes have to cut really good players because they can't afford them anymore, or they don't fit the system going forward. And we have to do the same with our time, our habits, and our energy. And lastly, your goals, your schedule, and your actual behavior have to match. If your calendar doesn't reflect your priorities aren't real yet. Now, I've developed a worksheet to help you think about your weekly game plan and your long-term direction. It's a free resource available on my website, so check it out. Okay, are you ready for some football? Spring has sprung. It's draft time. Let's be hopeful. But remember, Super Bowls aren't won on draft day, but they are often decided there because that's where direction is set. That's where priorities are chosen. That's where the future quietly begins. And in a quieter way, so is your life. The future you're hoping for, that better season, that better version of yourself, it doesn't start in the fall, it starts now. Don't wait for the season you want. Start in the season you're in, because fall football doesn't start in September. And if you're hearing this and thinking, I'm already late, you might be. But there is still time on the clock, because in the NFL, teams turn things around all the time. Not overnight, but over seasons, with planning, with discipline, with a willingness to start again. It's true in football, it's true in the garden, and it's true in your life. Late doesn't mean finished, it means you start smarter. So no, it's not too late, but it is time. All right, see you later, friends. Keep tending what you're growing. And if this was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.